All right, everybody, welcome. Just a little bit late on schedule, but here we are. So I'm gonna try to continue this Octopus thing, and hopefully you can hear me a little bit better than yesterday. I still have the same microphone. I adjusted the settings a little bit, so I hope it's a little louder and it's a little easier to understand. All right, so let's see what we can do here. I'm sorry for the echo and reverb, and probably hear a fan in the background. But yeah, it's picking them up for now. So, oh, what is this back over here? So I was working on my third layer, this copy. I'm still gonna use this. Have to darken all these little things over here. Chat window here, and duplicate my view and put it on my other screen so that I got a reference for it. I think it's going to be this stream and probably another one for this fellow here. I don't think I'm going to finish it today. It's probably going to be another 2 hours or so. I'm going to finish the grayscale and then do the color, which is faster for me because the grayscale is really the the hardest part, but we don't know. We'll see. I might even get to code today. Probably not, but we'll see. As I was saying yesterday, I don't really want to go excessively detailed with these monsters. I want them to be hyper realistic. So that would take many more hours to do, but I still want to get a little bit of realism. And once I manage to put my other screen as a smaller picture into the recording area, you'll be able to see that I am actually using a lot of reference. So for this one, I took some, well, I didn't take them, but I got from Pinterest, I guess, some Octopus pictures. Then I got some more from older video games like Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy 4 and 5, I believe that is, yeah. And I used them all to inform my design. Now, the actual Octopus ones come later, usually for me. Like the actual physical reference comes later. So first thing I do is grab some inspirational material, and then once I would say the base design is done, I start using the other reference, because I don't want to be tied 100% to the real thing. This one is not very fantasy. It's got a weird head shape, but it's pretty realistic in terms of shapes as an octopus. And it's fine. It didn't exactly go where I wanted it to go, but I've got some others that I might take to a finish at some point. It's just that this is basically what people like most. So it was like a no-brainer. Like, okay, the audience wins. And I still like it. I mean, this was my second favorite. Probably gonna paint in the center part and then erase out all the rest from these things. I didn't look it up. I have no idea how they're called. Sorry. I forget, I have to remember when I'm coloring this. Some head decorations. That I have to put in later, so I'm gonna write it there because I will forget otherwise. I'm going a little too dark this here. Darken this part as well, because otherwise, as I said yesterday in yesterday's stream, it's gonna tend to feel a little metallic because of value range. So I don't want that. I don't want to paint a metal octopus. Maybe at some point down the line, but not this one. This one is an old greasy jelly octopus, mean octopus. And as I said yesterday, I did not decide a name for this thing yet, so feel free to suggest it in the comments below. I'm trying to kind of normalize my streaming schedule. It's still a bit of a hit and miss for now because I'm not sold on this time now. It's a little tight for my work schedule, but I might keep it, or I might just add to it and do one now and then continue later around 9 to 11 p.m. We'll see. I actually have a few things planned for the upcoming weeks and months. I would like to do some pixel art streaming. I'm probably going to have some thematic weeks, like there's going to be I don't know, or a day maybe. It's going to be a study day, and then a design day, and then a render day, something like that. I can't really stream for longer than a couple hours because I honestly think it's an overkill for most people. So, well, aside from my schedule, it's just not, I don't think it's conducive to learning something. This will be fun, but I'm probably not going to do any stream longer than 2 hour-ish. At least not for now. But at this time, it's definitely going to stay around an hour or so. None of this crease here, I think I'm gonna get rid of it. This is why I got 2 layers. Eventually I'm gonna have to remove it again. So I'm just gonna do it on the first layer for now, because my small preview just doesn't look right, honestly. I think I made a little mistake. I probably started using the darker value yesterday. And then continue today with the lighter one. It's not a big deal. You Yeah, just a little bit. It's okay. In any case, I don't want this area to feel too dark, so it's fine. Add some darker here now. And as I paint, I keep squinting because it looks cool. No, because I want to make sure values are grouped decently and there's nothing too weird. Like this part, like over here, this is definitely not right. I think I'm gonna erase a little bit and take it a little lower. This one too. Yeah, because I tried to just stretch it higher, but you know what? Actually, yeah, I'm gonna run with it. I'm gonna actually stretch it a little higher. Otherwise, it's not. Yeah, I don't like how it looks otherwise. Yeah, it's looking. This part is not. There's something weird going on here. Let's see what we can do. It's like a harder edge, but should really not be hard. I think it's creasing in the wrong spot. So yeah, we need to be dark around here. So the extension, let's call it the extension of the core shadow, is going to dictate the type of shape you're describing or form you're describing. So the thinner it is, usually the pointier the angle is between light and dark. So in this case, it was looking a little too pointy for my legs, and so I decided to dial it back and make it rounder. The more diffused it is, the more diffused the shadow is, especially the core shadow, the rounder the form is going to look. This one is not super high resolution. I'm probably going to increase it as I go at some point for my next creatures. I just thought it would be enough because I'm doing this mainly for RPG Maker to use it as an asset, so it doesn't need to be super high definition. If I were making a boss monster, like something that's supposedly large, I would definitely stop and add way more detail to these things. Because it's going to be rendered, it would be rendered at a higher resolution, so or displayed at a larger scale. So obviously you would need to have a little more detail, but I would still stay true to what I said before. So I would try to sort of decrease the level of detail as I get farther and further away from the center of interest, which in my case is obviously the eye area. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that lighter. Did I darken this? This is dark enough. This is not. And it is going to be a little more chaotic at this point because I am kind of layering strokes rather than merging them together. So it's fine. It's going to add to the overall look. I sort of like this, so I'm doing this intentionally. I could go back once this is done and blend in strokes and a color pick and then add them back, but it doesn't really suit the style I'm looking for with these ones, so I'm not gonna do it. I think, let me see. This is not looking bad. I don't know. Maybe I can darken some of these. Obviously, this doesn't look as good if it's zoomed in 100%. For now, it's gonna look a little better later, but it doesn't matter because it's not supposed to be seen at this close distance. And when it's in game, nobody's probably gonna notice that it's not as sharp in detail as other areas. Okay, I think this might be enough for this layer. Now, it's actually almost done for the value part. So what I'm going to do is add another layer and multiply it. This time I'm definitely not going to use the water fringe. And I'm going to go one step darker. And now I'm going to start to blend in these lines with the actual value, because in the end I want it to be cohesive, so I don't want anything to look too detached from the rest. I want it to sort of blend in together, and I'm also going to thicken some parts, especially where forms overlap. Here a little thicker, and again, perfectly fine if it looks a little detached and messy, because I'm going to add color. I'm going to lighten those areas anyway. obviously the darker the tone I use here, for example, the deeper the thing is gonna look. So they add some more darkness around the edge. It's gonna look darker. It's gonna look, sorry, it's gonna look like it's going deeper into the socket. Let's see if I should fix it here now. I'm also starting to add these extra lines to it. Again, the spirit of making it more cohesive with the fine art underneath it. That's right, I think I'm probably going to finish the grayscale today and then do the color Monday. I'm not going to be streaming tomorrow, just taking Sunday off from these streams and definitely going to stream on Monday. Let's make this part just a little bit darker. Put some speckles and stuff. Make him look, or it look, a little more greasy and grumpy. Maybe I should call it, for him, Grumpy Octopus. Grumpus. Again, suggestions are open if you want to name it. Or him or her, who knows, maybe it's a her. Or maybe it's just a variety of monsters, so obviously there are more than one, or there's more than one, so they're going to be females and they're going to be males. Otherwise, how do you get those awful little octopus monsters? Baby octopus monsters, you don't. In here, it's good. It's good. Still got some room for value down here. It'll work. Sometimes I just like adding these random dots. Not why, I think it makes it look a little more drawn in rather than simply rendered. And the shadow. Again, continuing those lines, make them look more even with the line art. This one, and I think it's darker, but I'm going to fade it so that you can see it's actually going into this whole, I guess they use it to breathe. Please don't hate me if you're a biologist or something. I don't know. I should know, probably. I believe that, I mean, I've seen octopi blow water out of these, so I guess they use them to breathe. Always these that I left out a while ago. Excuse me, because the brush has a different thickness compared to the line art pen that I use, pen brush that I use, and so it gives a little bit of a different effect, which I personally like. Generally, when I draw these lines in, I want to follow. To go across the form. So like here, this tentacle is going backwards. So I'm gonna do this, right, this, and not this, because that would be, it would not work, because I want it to feel like it's going, like cross contouring. It's going into the distance. And it's pretty much what I did for all these. The major creases with the shading. You could go with the form rather than across it. It's just a personal preference. I feel like, at least for me, for the things I do, it helps, the way I do it, it helps conveying the third-dimensional aspect of the drawing. So I just keep doing it. It's sort of like having a wireframe, a not so obvious wireframe. And this is where, or when, I start adding a little more detail here. It doesn't have to be extreme. I do say it is extreme because I'm trying all these things, but it needs to, make this thing look like it is finished. It's not just a sketch. So I want to have a little harder lines, a little less vague or vaguely indicated shapes. I want these to be actually something now. This one is not looking good, so maybe. Got my reference covered by the stream chat, so I can't really tell what is what these things look like in the actual octopus. But it's fine. I mean, it doesn't have to be super realistic. So, as I said, improvising. These are getting a little too invasive, so I'm going to nail them back a little. Excuse me. These ones are in the very foreground, so I definitely want to add a little more to them than it did. That I added to the others. So maybe I'm going to add some thickness here. I start indicating them. Darken some of the edges. I just want to make sure they pop away from the others, but they're not dark enough to compete with the overall form of this thing. Because if they become too dark and obvious, then it's going to break up the whole thing. It's going to break it up too much. It's going to break up the contours and it's not going to look good. You can also correct some of the shapes I'm not happy with. I usually, if I have to do it, I usually do it at this stage. So like some of these are a little off, so I take my time to correct them before I move on to color. Constantly looking at my smaller preview because at this point it's very easy to mess it up. Like you can go too dark in an area and then it's gonna pop compared to the rest, and you really don't want that. This one here, I think it's popping a little too much right here, so let's see if I can. I want this to indeed look cartoony, but it might be a little too much. Just notice this part is really under rendered, so I'm gonna add some little something to it. Because I want it to be 100% flat. That would not be interesting at all. So I'm gonna do it here. And as you can see, I'm not religious about what I use for what. So in this case, I saw that, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna fix it now. I don't wanna switch layers. I'm on this one, so I'm definitely gonna use the one I have. This looks very squeezed. It's like a little too flat for my neck, so I think I will just remove part of that shadow. Let's see. Yeah, so this one has, I could remove that later, but I'm gonna remove this one first. And address this thing here, which is a little duplicate again. I'm gonna keep that area for now that I removed before. And this looks a little better, yeah. These ones, what should I do with these? Some of them look too dark. It's because of the line art here, so I'm gonna erase back part of the line art that I left here. Some of it back in. Fully remove the outer edge. I think there are some, yeah, they actually are some. There's some artifacts here. Because I used the magic wand. You can see my previous video on Twitch, by the way. I did not post it here yet. I will when I finish the whole thing. I'm probably gonna do a time lapse with maybe a short voiceover for the whole process, so you can see the whole thing without having to stay here, hear me blabber for 3 hours. Again, more streaks, more lines to make it as drawn in. Close. I mean, these are too much. Make sure that it has a good read of the main forms first. So I think I was going a little too, I was breaking them up a little too much there. I dialed back a little bit. I'm also using this to go back and redefine some shadow areas here and there. And emphasize some of them. This is a pretty slow process. That's what I'm thinking of. Upgrading to something a little different. I have something in mind that I tried for mine. A dragon painting you should see it right now. I don't know where you're watching this, but if you're watching this live or pseudo live or a few days later, I have a different process. It gets a little more traditional looking for that dragon that I have as a channel background. Yeah. I think what I do is go back to the actual line art, which is the line art brush. Fix these that as I want. It's a little too creasy here. I want it to be fairly uniform. Not completely, but I'm just gonna bridge some of these shapes. A little simplified. It's probably gonna have a better read, less bumpy from a distance. It's still gonna read as a crease, obviously. I think is keeping the major shapes separated. They look like they're just one thing. Use a lot of tools for that. Line, obviously, if you're doing something like this, or you can use value, or you can use color. Well, in that case, it's like temperature. We call it temperature, right? Because it's either warm or cool. And you will see when I get to the final rendering of this on Monday that basically the very last thing I do is push some of these, like I'll push this back with some bluish tint so that it feels like there is some haze or atmosphere in between. This would obviously depend on where this creature goes. So I use blue because it's kind of generic bluish. But say this monster is not a water octopus, but it lives in a volcano sort of thing. Well, then the haze should technically be orange-ish, or whatever the ambient suggests. Again, these are more generic, so I'm gonna just do it blue. Also because I like it, honestly. Oops. I think these are good. Yeah. let's see. I'm not sure if I wanna do. Let's see. Oops, this is too dark though. I don't know yet if I want to. I don't know. Yeah, I don't want this to be super detailed because it's supposed to be a random encounter monster. So otherwise it's gonna end up looking like a boss, and that would be inconvenient. You gotta always think about the purpose of what you're doing. So in this case, this creature is not supposed to be super threatening and super strong. It's just going to be a random monster. So, well, I don't want it to be as fancy as a boss. Still good at it. It has to look decent. It has to be threatening and mean and powerful looking, but it's not going to be as menacing as a boss would be. Otherwise, this thing would have, I don't know, wings. Or LED lights, I don't know. An RGB octopus is a boss. I mean, everything's got RGB nowadays, so. think so. This I go a little darker still. What we're gonna use, I'm gonna add a little bit of texture to this. I don't actually have my other textures, but let's see. I don't generally do this too much because I don't like these textures Paint Tool Sai has, and I haven't figured out how to add the ones I have in Photoshop. But I think it does add a little bit of grain to it. It's not going to look completely flat. I think, yeah, this could be it for the values. Make it darker around here. Definitely do want this removed. Okay. But overall, I think this is pretty decent as a starting point for color. This is so too emphasized. It's too obvious. Again, I'm squinting and trying to see what I can do to improve upon this, but I'm probably not going to take it to a better finish as long as the values are concerned, because I still have a couple layers to add anyway. I'm going to add an overlay. So I'm gonna emphasize all of those, like the tops of the creases with the overlay, and then there's gonna be maybe more than one overlay actually, and then there's gonna be the shine, it is called, which is basically the rim light / reflected light. Yeah, man, had this been 2 hours, I would have been able to finish it probably, but I'm definitely gonna finish it on Monday. I'm gonna make this a little more strong. So these streaks, or pencil marks, or whatever. Yeah, it's gonna be like that. So we already have this water fringe effect, but I definitely want to add even more fringe to some parts. Now what I'll do is, so which one is it? Let's see, is it this? Yeah. So I've got so I've got those things, those marks. I'm actually going to paint them in. I'm gonna make them darker for now, and then I'm gonna save the selection so that I can use it later. So I'll call it marks. So this is the sketch basically that I used as a base for the ink. Again, you can see the ink on Twitch for now. If you're watching this, if you're not watching this live and I already finished the whole thing, then you can see the inking process as well. But for now, let me just paint in these marks, and then I'm gonna call it done. Let me actually, let's see if I can. Yeah, let's do this. I want them lighter. I'm just gonna paint them flat with no contour, and I'm going to fix the shapes later on when I do the color. Eventually, I'm gonna see how they look. Because, yeah, right now, you know what? Actually, let me do this. I'm gonna use 100% density. Picture sensitivity, so this is 100%. Okay, opacity. A clearer design to it. I don't want this to be perfect, but it has to look somewhat like magical things. So I'm gonna, then I'll go just a tiny bit. I don't really have a plan about these. Like, I don't know how I'm going to paint them. If it's going to be darker or lighter. But I do. I don't know. I'm thinking if I paint the octopus orange brown like a normal octopus, then these are going to be blue. Maybe they're going to be red. The octopus is going to be bluish. Who knows? Let's see. I just don't want to go to the edge. So. Let's see how it look. Do it. This is a little thinner than it should be. It's thinner than the others. So maybe make it thicker around here. Maybe thick here. It's okay, I think this is actually pretty good for now. I think I'm gonna leave them light. These are just a placeholder. Later on, when I move the color, they're gonna be something that makes sense, hopefully. Actually, too dark, and I'll remove this. Oops, not this one. Add some more. Let's do like. I think this is gonna be filled with the rim light anyway, but yeah, okay, I think this is actually pretty good for being grayscale. Yeah, so I think we can wrap this stream up for today. Thanks everyone for joining. If you have any question, please leave it in the comments. If you like the video, well, like and subscribe, and I am gonna see you this Monday, next Monday, for the coloring of this octopus. All right, have a good weekend. Bye.